Hello friends, my name is Dave Miller.
And my name is Niall Spain, and we're your fuck buddies.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and we turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we get questions online or from our wonderful listeners on the topics of sex and dating. We answer them right here in your ears.
Can I just say how proud I am that we've actually started doing the intro? The first, I would say probably 100 episodes, we kind of did it.
No, I think we probably got about 40 or 50, and then that one review show, we're like, hey, you guys are good, but you never tell anyone what the fuck your podcast is. And we were like, oh yeah.
I have no idea of how long we've been doing this or when we did anything. Like the other day when you were like, what's your, we need to set up an episode in. And I was like, I couldn't tell you what any episode was about.
I don't know. Some seem like they should have been more recent. Others seem like they were a long time ago. It's kind of crazy we've been doing this for so long. But let's just kick into the fucking questions, unless you got something pressing to say.
I've got nothing important
Great, because this one's kind of long. So this is by Throw RA Breaks. My 25-year-old male girlfriend, 24-year-old female, wants to break up with me because I can do the splits. Pretty much what the title says. Fiance works a full-time job, COVID-delayed wedding, and does yoga on the side. She's certified and teaches a few people in a local gym and has also a separate Instagram account for yoga. I used to do gymnastics back in 9th grade before and stopped due to an injury, but I still keep some of the exercises I had in my current workouts, and I also study aerial straps at a local place that teaches them. Why is this important? Because my fiance got offended when she learned I could do the splits and called me a liar for not telling her about my gymnastics background when, in reality, I did tell her, and we were friends before we started dating back around 9th grade, and 9th grade was a very long time ago, and she just forgot that I did gymnastics and called me a liar. I'm about to be 26, and here's why splits came up. Aside from her Instagram, she has a YouTube she's trying to grow, and she wanted to do a splits video where she would do the more advanced yogi versions, while I, the inflexible boyfriend, as she put it, would do the basic, non-yogi, normal person, easier basic versions of the stretches for more inflexible people, and this is where she got offended. When she asked me to try some, I was more flexible than she remembered, and, like her, I was also able to do the splits, and she got upset and huffy and called me a liar for not telling her about my background in gymnastics, when I did years ago in 9th grade. Again, about to be 26, but I digress. She became so offended her mood was ruined, and she became quiet and said she changed her mind about the video. At the time, I felt bad and tried to lighten the mood by changing the subject, but she was pissed off no matter what I did, and when I went home, I texted her that I was sorry for offending her even though I thought I did nothing wrong, and she didn't reply and ghosted me for 4 days. When she finally broke her silence, she said she was sorry for not responding, but she needed to take a break from our relationship. This break lasted for 3 weeks with nothing from her. No texts or calls. I didn't break her requested NC, I assume no contact, although I regretted ever showing her my splits. And the only reason I considered calling her back in my last post was because of the wedding, whereas if the wedding didn't exist, I wouldn't call her back at all and assume our relationship was over regarding something as petty as this. However, I was afraid of her pulling some stupid stuff over the wedding payments, which is the only reason I considered calling her at some point to make sure there were no loose ends she could try and get nasty with later. What makes this hurt more is I have a friend group I consider closer to my own family, and I introduced her to them when we started dating 4 years ago, and they loved her when she didn't have many friends of her own. However, during the 3 weeks that she said she needed time to think, she was gossiping to other girls about how I'm keeping things from her, and about the video in that space instead. While some of the people have taken my side, I don't think my relationship with the group will ever be the same, given some of the mixed feelings, and it really hurts a lot. It's bad enough to go through a breakup over something as stupid as this. Well, I know others said it was probably a scapegoat for other issues she had, and she already had one foot out the door, but I'm now losing my family friend group on top of it, the one I introduced her to, and she's trying to destroy my reputation too. What do I do?
Oh man, they're engaged, you said?
Yes.
What the fuck? I don't even know where to stand other than
Well, be careful, because if you stand with your legs too far apart, she might break up with you.
Well, here's the thing. I'm on her side. Unless you're Jean-Claude Van Damme, no man should do the splits.
Well, you could do it, but you have to disclose it on a monthly basis.
Nope.
Every month, you gotta be like, hey, just remember, I can do the splits. Because you don't want to surprise them. Imagine you wake up in the middle of the night, you're going out to go to the bathroom, and in the darkened hallway, your boyfriend's just doing the splits. It's terrifying. That could end the life right there.
I'm not going to repeat myself again, except for this one time. If you're not Jean-Claude Van Damme, you are not allowed to do the splits. It's that simple. It's law. It's unwritten law.
Which most people would call not a law.
It's 80s action movie law, all right?
That's fair. He did trademark it in an 80s action movie. And we should all aspire to live like we're in an 80s action movie. So what you're saying effectively makes sense. But no, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a man doing the splits.
Like the thing is, I don't think it's like a like gender role thing. I think she literally got upset that like she was supposed to do this like video.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently started streaming, and there is insecurities of doing something creative and not being that successful at it on the inside or on the onset rather. So it's like it's a little nerve wracking or a little shitty when you look over and you see there's like 4 people watching you or less. So it's like I get it. She's probably very insecure about trying to start this YouTube channel, and probably has like 4 subscribers who are her friends and her family. And this is supposed to be the thing that she does well. And then you're just like, hey, cool, check this out. Wha-bam, wha-bam, wha-bam. So like, I get it. Is her action or reaction to this valid? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I feel like it's almost like when people look at other like couples, like we said last week, where you're like looking at this like online like profile or online relationship, and like you take it too seriously, even though it's very performative. I feel like she did that, but like with her own post in the future. Like, I think she had this idea of this reality where like she had this silly boyfriend who couldn't do stuff and she was all impressive. And like, she got so wrapped up in that reality that when it like wasn't real, she just like snapped and like, I guess took it out on him massively, where like, you're probably right. Where this was her big idea and it was completely ruined. And then like, instead of rolling with it or making anything else out of it, she just kind of like stuttered to a halt and like lashed out.
It's one of those things where she had these expectations, you sort of shattered them to no fault of your own. And like, even if you didn't mention gymnastics, because like if you had stopped at 9th grade, like if it was a big part of your life growing up, you know what I mean? But like if you had just started it in grade 9, hurt yourself, and then never did it again, there's probably a ton of stupid bullshit that my girlfriend, like I haven't told my girlfriend because it's so inconsequential.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I told, like, even if, for whatever reason, like I played the alto saxophone for 1 year in band, and I'm pretty sure my girlfriend knows that. But like, even if she didn't, if I told her, I promise you, I would bet my entire life's fortune that she wouldn't want to break up with me because I was hiding my sordid alto sax past.
Well, this is not an alto sax and dating advice podcast, so I'm afraid you're going to have to leave.
I see what you did there, and I appreciate it.
Yes.
I feel like when I played the sax, I didn't make enough sax jokes.
Mm-hmm. But to be fair, you were too busy focusing on getting out of your hellhole town before you became 9 years old. So you had to like really, really grind to get that musical scholarship to the Mystical University.
Let me tell you, I was a terrible musician. I never practiced. And the one like big show that we did was at Canada's Wonderland, which is like a theme park.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty
in
cool.
front of like all of these other things. And then in the songs that we were doing, one of the songs had like a part where the alto sax just kind of rip it. Like they just slap, right? And I was like, cool, well, there's 3 other alto sax. No one will know if I'm not playing it. But let me tell you, none of the alto sax decided they wanted to play this part either. So in the middle
everyone had the same idea, damn it.
Yeah, so in the middle of this song, at this point where the alto saxes are just supposed to kind of like jam and blow everyone's faces off, silence. There was one guy who was like half trying, so it was just like burr, 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 burr.
Oh no.
It was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever like had to live through. But one of the things I recovered fastest from, because I didn't give a shit, like I didn't want to be a musician.
That's good. Well, this man wanted to be a yogi YouTube star, Dane. Focus on his problems.
She wanted to be.
I know. I'm joking.
Okay. I was like, did I misunderstand the question?
No. So like, I think we can all agree she's kind of being wildly out of line here.
The 2 things, yes, absolutely. 100%. Okay. The 2 things I would check in with, be like, are you okay? You know what I mean? If you still care about this person, which I assume you do, you were going to get married to them. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's any harm in being like, hey, this seems like a really wild escalation for a really small thing. And maybe I don't understand where you're coming from here. So like, can we talk about this? And I want to either understand if there's an underlying issue that makes you this upset about the fact that I can do splits, or is there something going on, or can you at least illuminate why you're so angry about this? Because I don't get it.
100%.
Or the other alternative is to lay out your case and be like, hey, if this is the thing that breaks the camel's back here, if this is the straw that breaks the camel's back, then I don't know, like, what else are you going to, like, this is such an inconsequential thing. If we ever have a disagreement on raising a child or having children, you know what I mean? Like anything, any of the bigger issues, I need to know that you're not going to disappear for 3 weeks and not talk to me and, you know, quote unquote, take a break from the relationship. Like, who the fuck knows what that means?
Yeah, that's a wild thing to do, kind of like ever, but like they're not in their teens and they are engaged, so it's way worse. It also seems like they don't live together, which is kind of even stranger. It's like don't get engaged if you guys don't live together. That's a step you need to really take first. But yeah, exactly what Dane said, because either if they are serious about like this angry that they just, you know, were blindsided by you being able to do the splits, I'm sorry, but you probably need to break up with this person. And by probably, I mean you need to break up with this person. This is not going to be a healthy marriage if this elicits a reaction like that. And on top of that, if you try to talk to them and either they're unwilling to tell you that there's a deeper issue or there is no deeper issue, you can't have this relationship with someone that won't communicate with you either. So it's like, unless you talk to them and they're like, okay, look, and kind of let you in and you guys get to hash it out, I'm going to say this is a lost cause, because you do not want to live a life like this.
No.
You're going to be on eggshells the entire rest of your life, like wondering what next thing, like, you know, did you once see the Scooby-Doo movie at like the age of 12 and she's going to throw it on TV and you're like, oh, I've seen this. And she's like, what? Excuse me? You didn't tell me. You're keeping this? You have a Scooby-Doo secret?
This is my favorite Freddie Prinze Jr. movie and you haven't told me?
What's next? Because on the list of things, being able to do the splits is pretty inconsequential.
Yeah. I mean,
and
like,
also, let's be fucking fair. You said you do, what's the term? The aerial straps? Currently, you study that, like that is itself quite an acrobatic thing. So it's like, is she so oblivious of what you do on a weekly basis that she doesn't know you do these lessons?
I don't know. The whole thing is just so wild to me and very scary. But again, the thing that really bothers me is like, I need a break from our relationship for 3 weeks. That seems like she had this plan.
Yeah, it's also like, part of me, like maybe she's freaking out about marriage and like this is that her way to get that out, and the 3-week break is maybe she's gonna sow some wild oats and see how she feels, you know what I mean? Because someone saying I want to break from our relationship, that sounds like, you know, they were on a break. Unless you really hash out the specifics, the parameters, who knows what the fuck's happening? And it really sounds like you guys didn't. So that would be an issue I would follow up on.
Yeah.
If anyone, like, hey, if they want a day or two to themselves, sure. You know, that's one thing. But
yeah,
if someone's like, I want to break from this relationship, you gotta clarify. There is an update where they like, she just still won't message him back about the wedding and all this shit. So it sounds like it's all gone to shit. But you gotta talk and communicate. But like, hey, this is a blessing in disguise if this happens before the wedding.
Yeah, exactly. If like, hopefully you're able to get a lot of your deposits back and you haven't spent, you know, several tens of thousands of dollars on this wedding that would immediately go to shit because your partner refuses to communicate with you for 3 months or 3 weeks at the first sign of literally anything.
You gotta communicate. If there's a pressing issue, try to talk it through. But unless she gives you a very good reason, is willing to communicate like, you know, a responsible, loving adult, get the fuck out of there. And never hide your splits again. Every first date, the first thing you should do is sink to the ground, legs akimbo, the second you see them, just so they know what they're getting into.
What if this is like his curse? Like every time he does it, it just makes a woman like lose her mind. And it's like, how dare you? Did you know that my father lost his legs?
No, like one day when he was a kid, like he was really bad at acrobatics class and or in gymnastics or whatever. And he made a little deal, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you can do it," but it was a genie deal, so he never like looked up the terms, right? So now it's like, yeah, he can always do the splits. He's always going to be incredible because again, this guy hasn't done gymnastics since 9th grade, really. So it's something weird's going on here. But every time he does it, someone's going to break up with him or yell at him. It just provokes anger.
Yeah.
All right, hit me.
This comes from Reddit user Heart12. Tired of being asked if I can squirt. 27-year-old female here. I'm not sure if other people can relate to this or not, but the last few people I've had sex with, they've asked if I'm a squirter. I've told them no, and they accept it and don't push the topic any further. Thankfully, they don't try and make me feel bad about it or convince me that they can make me squirt. However, I can't help but feel inadequate when I have to tell them that I'm not a squirter. It makes me wonder if all the women before me were able to squirt and I can't fulfill that fantasy for them. I think squirting is incredibly hot, but I've just never been able to actually do it. It's just such a trivial thing that I feel stupid even writing this. But I feel like porn has created an unrealistic expectation that all women can squirt. Or maybe I'm just unaware of the fact that the majority of women are out there and are able to squirt, and I'm just part of the minority that can't. I'm just sick of being asked this question, honestly. They say, men, do you feel disappointed when you find out a woman can't squirt?
Nope. However, there was a point in my life where I thought squirting was like, that was the proof that you did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they could maybe come or they could feel good, but it's like, damn, if you got them to squirt, like that was it. You're good at sex. Thankfully, I grew up and realized that's not the case, but I do think maybe it's a porn thing or maybe it's just like a lack of sexual education thing. But like, I do think some people do think that that is true still to this day.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I'm sure it's like along the same lines of like, you know, when idiot dudes talk to women who aren't straight and are like, "Well, I bet I could turn you." You know what I mean? Like, I bet it's sort of along the same line of people being like, "Well, I bet I can make you squirt." Oh, you've never squirted before? I could do that for you.
Yeah, not
Because
every,
they made like one woman squirt before.
yeah, not every woman can squirt or does squirt. I think let's just get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
And also, the lack of squirting or the presence of squirting doesn't really mean anything with regards to your sexual performance.
I mean, it would be pretty fucking wild, and I'm sure there's people out there because, you know, we don't deal in absolutes, but I would imagine most dudes aren't going to have sex with you and be like, she didn't squirt. Like, most people are happy to have sex. You know what I mean? I would imagine most people aren't going to be like, well, you don't squirt? Forget it. Forget it. Nah,
No.
not interested.
And
Pass.
like, to be
Move along.
fair, like maybe these people had been with a squirter before and were just like wanted to make sure if they should get a towel.
So, thank you. That is kind of the angle I was going to bring is there was a time in my life where I had never been with a squirter, and then all of a sudden everyone I was with were squirt. Just making a mess everywhere. And it got to the point of being like, it's like I've never asked anyone if they were a squirter, but I took precautions specifically because I was like, I can't have my bed soaked all the time. You know what I mean? Like it's so gross to have like a damp bed when you're going to sleep. And the fact that, or like having to wash your, like when I had coin laundry, like that sucked having to wash my sheets. Also, I was like a broke dude in his early 20s. I didn't have multiple sets of sheets. So like every fucking day I had to like clean a new set of sheets. It sucked.
Yeah, I had been with people who'd like, squirted a little bit and thought that that was what squirting was, and like porn squirting was a different thing. And then one day I got with someone who like, holy shit, like I'm very glad it wasn't in my apartment because I think like I would have had permanent water damage. But like we destroyed the bathroom we were fucking in. Like it was insane. And like if I had that happen to me at home, I think I would always ask. I think I would be like, hey, do I need to get a paddle pool?
Yeah.
Just to avoid this issue. So maybe that's it. But I also do know a lot of people have this weird, like, and I think the question asker nailed it, where it's like a porn thing, where it's like they assume that like squirting is like our version of coming, you know?
Yeah.
So to anyone listening, that is not the case. Some people squirt, some people don't. It doesn't mean they're not coming. It doesn't mean they're not enjoying sex. There is no like, oh, I can make them squirt. Like, don't get in that mindset unless your partner is telling you that they sometimes do squirt and want to, and in that case, follow their instruction. You know what I mean? Like, do be chill about this because people can not be. But yeah, it's not as big of a deal as you might occasionally think it is.
And there isn't like a hierarchy of orgasms either. No. Like squirting isn't at the top of the pyramid and everything else is sort of like, consolation prize. People can orgasm just as intensely through clitoral stimulation and internal and G
Mhm.
spot and
And
squirt. Like
that's
it's a whole spectrum of things. And like one person squirting orgasm, like I've been with women who squirt when they're not orgasming, when it's just the right angle and they're away they go. So it's
yeah.
like it has no, like you said, there's no bearing on sexual performance when it comes to squirting.
And I think like important to mention is like the same thing with like penetrative or like clitoral like stimulation. Some people get really hung up on like trying to make someone come from penetration and feel like they're not a man if they can't and all this bullshit. It's like there is no hierarchy. You know what I mean? Unless your partner is specifically telling you X, Y, or Z, and in which case, work with them if you can. But like you can't be like, damn, like listen to your partner, because I feel like a lot of the time men get in their own head about like, shit, I should be able to make you come with just my dick, and they're
Mm-hmm.
they're like, no, I'm fine. Like rub my clit, it's incredible. And I think that's a separate but linked issue. So yeah, like don't be weird about squirting. Don't fetishize it in a weird way. You know what I mean? Because then you're making people that can't feel awkward, and the people that can feel awkward. So just be chill and realize there is no hierarchy. I think we did that one. I think it's done.
We did do it.
This is my throwaway account, 967. Found a hidden camera in the bedroom. How to approach girlfriend about this. So I moved into my girlfriend's apartment 4 months ago. She went on a business trip for a week, and this is the first time we're away from each other. Also, it's the first time alone in her, which I suppose is now our apartment. This morning, as I'm cleaning the bedroom, I realized that the bulb on the bedside lamp is also a camera. It's the exact same bulb my brother uses in his shop, and I'm 100% certain it's a camera. She never told me about this. I'm not sure if it was installed before I moved in. I don't know how to ask her about this. I'm trying to wrap my mind around the possible reasons why she had it installed, whether before or after I moved in. I haven't touched it, so I'm not sure what's in it, nor am I sure I want to know. Any advice would be a big help.
Where was the camera?
Bedside lamp.
Huh. Okay. There was that whole fucking thing of landlords doing this in like vents and shit.
Well, a friend of mine had her apartment broken into, even though it appears they used a key, and she found a camera in her bedroom. Or no, in the bathroom. So they don't know if someone, like it was an old tenant or if it was the landlord, but then the landlord was really shitty. And like this is downtown Toronto in like a big, like fancy condominium building.
Yeah.
So this shit unfortunately fucking happens.
Yeah, and I like if you're suspicious of, whether or not she's keeping an eye on you or whether it was like an ex or whether, you know what I mean? Like I think like you don't have to bring this into an accusatory manner. You can bring it up out of concern of being like, "Hey, one, I think you need to determine whether or not it is a camera, because it would be weird to be like, "Hey, I think your light bulb is spying on us." Um,
Yeah.
but so like determine whether or not it's a camera, and then be like, "Hey, are you aware that your light bulb is a camera? Because if you're not, we have some serious issues. Like there's a serious or like breach of privacy that's happened to you, and we kind of need to get to the bottom of it."
One, as Dane said, 100% determine if it is a camera. I think there are ways to figure it out. Apparently there's like apps and shit, or you can like check if it's connected to your router, or like there are various ways to go about it. So do your research and like figure out 100% is it or isn't it. That's step one. Step two, I think, is to inform your girlfriend you're calling the police, because either she set it up, in which case she will tell you, if you're calling the police, she won't want to get in trouble. She will tell you, and that kind of gets rid of the fact that there's any, lies involved. And if it isn't her, there's no reason why she wouldn't want to call the police, because that's fucked up.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I think you need to call the fucking police, because who knows what they have on you guys right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sure you guys have had sex in that room, for example, or changed, or, anything like that. And you also don't know what else is in the apartment. So, like, this is a pretty serious issue. And I think, once you determine it's a camera and you talk to her, if it is her, the truth will come out when you mention the police. And if it isn't her, the truth will come out because you're going to the police. So I think that's kind of like the win-win there.
Yeah.
This is a pretty serious
Oh, 100%.
thing.
I would like my heart would sink if I ever found this. And I don't even think I would I wouldn't immediately assume it was my partner being cryptic or sinister or anything. I would immediately, especially because this was her apartment first, I would be so concerned that this was like a landlord being sketchy.
Well, yeah, my money is on somebody else, but
the thing
if it
is
isn't,
like,
you need to know.
it's rare that bedside lamps come with the apartment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but like if
Like,
they were in, like the lamp could have been installed, and they
oh,
just put it
true.
in the bulb, right?
Just switch the bulb. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
and sometimes landlords are in charge of swapping the light bulbs actually as well. So
Yeah, yeah, that's a very good plan because yeah, because I feel like if she's like, no, don't worry about it, it's probably not that big of a deal. Anyone who
yeah,
thinks that a camera in their bedroom isn't a big deal is hiding something for sure.
yeah, because on the off chance it was them, like maybe they just want to make sure you didn't like cheat on them or fuck with their place while they were gone. You know what I mean? That's something you need to know about because that's pretty fucked up.
Yep.
They could lie or they could do whatever. Again, I doubt it, but the other way I don't see it's not weird for you to be like, hey, let's call the police because, that's what a normal person would do in these circumstances. It is weird for them to be like, should we? It's fine. It's just pervy Pete. He likes to get
Yeah.
his ollies off.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also, maybe check the rest of the apartment.
100%. You need to go through. You like. I mean, I assume that if you call the police, they would do a thorough scan of the place, hopefully. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I didn't know you could put a fucking camera in a light bulb. That's news to me. But like,
Mm-hmm.
the main ones are in vents and shit. So like
Yeah.
AC vents, and in like most modern bathrooms have like fans to deal with condensation and shit. So like those are usually where people hide. Like I know that was the main spot in the places that in Toronto where people were getting caught. It was in the AC vents in the condo walls. So yeah, do a real thorough search and maybe like I don't know, get changed in the dark or something. That sucks. I
It could
like
be an infrared camera.
yeah, I know it's I yeah, just be careful with this. But yeah, I think that's a good plan.
All right, hit me.
This comes from that high Canadian guy.
Oh,
Should,
hey.
should I date this girl?
I'm going to guess no.
Hey, Al. Male 23-year-old currently speaking with someone I work with. She's female 29. I work in the professional industry with her. The professional industry.
Hell yeah.
The fuck does
I
that mean?
I too work in the business factory.
She has an absolutely train wreck of baggage. She only has dated guys with many, many, many issues, usually involving drugs, crime, cheating, court, and everything in between. This girl is extremely attractive to me. Says she wants a nice guy to date and has been talking to me a lot, hanging out with me. There are a lot of red flags, but I just can't seem to get my mind off her. Should I continue talking to her and hanging out with her, or is this a for sure way to get heartbroken?
Mm. Can I recommend that anyone ignores red flags? No. They're there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Have I done my share of engaging in red flags? Yes. Is that why I said the previous statement of not to ignore them? 100%. If you're not more specific about the red flags, I don't know how I can really advise you. You know yourself the best.
That's my thing. It's like I don't want to give people the advice of being like, oh, judge people 100% on their past relationships, and people who've made mistakes in the past don't deserve healthy loving
Mhm.
relationships because look what they've done before. Like I
Now, you'll note I didn't speak to any of that. I just said, because
no
he
no
said there are
I'm
red
not I'm
flags.
not accusing you of that.
I know, I'm just pointing out. It's
Uh,
like the director's commentary. You'll note, audience, I didn't
yeah.
mention that yet.
So I think that is something you need to be careful of when approaching people's dating history.
The funny thing is, they don't fucking matter because it's like, unless you think their judgment is terrible, but they like you, so are you saying you're terrible? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be their partner in this scenario, so why does it matter that they had previously bad partners, in your opinion?
Now, I will also say,
Unless they're still in the picture and, like, super dangerous or some shit.
yeah, maybe figure out what crimes were involved because if it's murder of her lovers, then maybe give this one a pass. I remember like a lot of people, like if I've ever been interested in someone, be like, oh, you don't get involved with her. She's done this or this or this, and it's like, okay, but those are like mistakes that most people make in relationships, and those were all like, or they were like, that okay, that's what her partner did
Mhm.
in a relationship. That has no bearing on this person as an individual, or at least this person as an individual as she is currently. Like,
Mhm.
if someone were to judge me on the fucking stupid bullshit that I did as a 20-year-old, No one would date me because I was an idiot. Like we're all idiots, or we all make mistakes. So
Hmm.
it's something you have to be careful of, and especially like it's a little strange because you're hyper aware of the baggage. Usually, it's given to you from a third party.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like usually the warnings come from like your buddies or their friends or their coworkers.
Yeah, well, it's like one of my exes got super into coke just before we broke up. It's like, does that have any bearing on me? You know what I mean? No, but like that's kind of what you're saying about this person, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, I would definitely not judge them on that, you know, unless there's a reason why you should, you know what I mean? Like if every day these sketchy ass people are showing up at work and all that, and it's like, sure, maybe you don't want to introduce that level of like stress and whatever into your life, but like that's a pretty extreme example. So, and again, you haven't said that or not said that, so we can't really advocate there. But you are saying there are a bunch of red flags. So are there other red flags, or are you counting the aforementioned shit as red flags?
yeah.
And I think that's kind of the crux here, because if there are other shit and you're admitting that they're red flags, then you're probably admitting to yourself this shouldn't be a thing, right? But if you're counting the other stuff, then unless there's information we don't know about, it seems like you're being a little overly judgmental.
And the thing with red flags is that is your intuition and your gut being like, hey, this seems like a bad idea. Imagine if you were to like walk into a room with dudes with baseball bats and everything in your body's like, hey, this is going to end poorly for you. And you're like, but should I do it though?
Now, are they hot? Because that's the issue here.
I guess, yeah.
Damn, these are so attractive, these men with baseball bats.
These
Fuck.
scary thug men.
Oh, I really want to leave and not get mugged, but oh, look at those thighs.
I think a lot of people fall into the pitfall of letting physical attraction or lust is sort of negate their common sense.
Oh,
So I think
1,000%.
I think like if your gut is telling you to run, but your dick is like, is she hot though? Ignore it. Like
Yeah.
there are so many attractive people on this planet, so many, and to go for the one that like has the flashing neon signs in your brain, being like, this is a bad idea. Follow your intuition. Don't go on the internet and hope someone will be like, go for it, bucko. Like it makes no sense.
Yeah, because that's definitely it. He's like, oh, it's not really me making a bad decision if someone on Reddit told me to do it, right?
I mean, yeah, it's the like that weird feeling of, and I've mentioned it before, of when like you haven't done your homework and you ask the person next to you, like, hey man, did you do the homework? And they're like, nah. And you're like, oh good. It's like that hasn't changed the situation. Your homework still isn't done. Just because that dude hasn't done his homework either doesn't make it okay. And I think a lot of people do that, and this is why bad advice, especially in like friend group, if you're not honest with your friends, and I hear it all the time when I bartend. A woman or people will be at the bar and be like, "Oh man, he's like such bad news, but like the sex is really great." And they, no, go for it, get it, like you deserve it. It's like, what are you doing? Your friend is literally being like, "Hey, this is gonna end poorly for me," and you're encouraging them.
Yeah, the thing is, like, the amount of time and effort and like energy and your soul that you're gonna fucking lose in this situation if it turns out to have been predicted correctly, which, let's be fair, it often is. You could have found somebody better during that time. You know what I mean? You're gonna be going back into the ring with drained reserves and a few more scars. That's not great.
It's no bueno. So follow your gut, follow your intuition. If things are telling you not to pursue this, even if she's attractive, that's like you can be attracted to people and not date them. It's very, very possible. I do it like on a daily basis. So follow your gut. Don't try to find the loophole. Don't try to like talk yourself out of it. Again, with everything we've said prior to this as the backbone of your intuition of being like, if you're just judging them based on their past relationships, I think that's unfair. But if there are other factors at play that make you realize that this is a bad idea, listen to those and stay away.
100%. All right. What are you feeling for your final Nile question?
Good stuff.
How does Throare Khan, I, 28-year-old female, think my dad, 62-year-old male, and husband, 29-year-old male, conned me into marrying him?
Yeah, give me that one because I'm not sure if her husband has conned her into marrying her dad.
No, they've both conned her into marrying her husband.
Okay.
Damn it, I've ruined the surprise. Edit that out and we'll keep the audience on their toes. My dad has personally picked all of my siblings' spouses. When I was 20, I had a boyfriend I believed was the love of my life. I wanted to marry him, but my dad didn't approve. He didn't like his family, didn't like his career aspirations, and didn't think he was man enough. He ended up driving him away. Oh, I don't know why I took that literally.
I also just assumed he put him in his car and
Just
took
like
him out
he's
to the woods.
Yeah. After that, I vowed to myself I would never marry the man my dad picked for me. When I met my current husband, my dad hated him at first, which just made me like him more. We've been married for close to 2 years, and our relationship is really good. My dad did a complete 180 after we got engaged and started treating my husband really well. I assumed it was because he realized that no matter what he said or did, I would marry him. I'm currently staying with my older sister, and she said something that makes me suspect they both ran a long con on me, and everyone but me knew. I was telling her how I was surprised by the fact that my dad really liked my husband, and she said, "You're not that stupid, right? Dad wanted you to marry him from the start." I told her she was wrong, that my dad didn't even know my husband until I introduced them, and she gave me a look like I was really dumb. I tried to ask her for more information, but she just told me to forget it. I get that this isn't much to go on, but I just have a sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach right now.
Well, I feel like that's a pretty substantial morsel to go on there.
I have a good marriage. I'm genuinely happy, but I also feel extremely angry now. I go home in 2 days. I want to confront them both, but I don't know what to say. I also don't want to cause issues in case it isn't true and I'm misunderstanding. What do I say?
You need to do detective work.
100%. But okay, no, like let's be fair, right? Okay, sorry, you go and then I'll go.
I mean, like, yeah, it would be one thing if you just, if you were suspicious because dad and husband got along now. You know what I mean? If that was like you scratching your chin and being like, huh, that's suspicious, I'd be like, that's ridiculous. Like, your dad might have just noticed and been like, oh, hey, maybe I shouldn't be such a fucking asshole to your partner. This is the man she loves. I'm going to be okay with him. But when your sister tells you specifically that your father was like, no, this is the dude he picked for you, and then it was like, gave you the look, which I can only assume was like over glasses. You know what I mean? The glasses tilted down and they're like,
I assume it's just like a slow head shake, like one tear running down the left side of her face, just like, oh, you poor fool.
So I think you have enough to go on here. Again, I think it's fucking wild that
you really think a long con dad marriage picking is wild? Really? That happens all the time.
I would love to know where this also is like originated, because this seems like, I mean, I've been very lucky and my parents have adored, I could bring anyone home and my parents would adore them. If I was like, this is the person I've chosen, my parents would, love them. But the idea that like, it's so backwards, the patriarchy. It's so fucking like, I don't even know where to start with this. You go.
So for me, it's like, okay, again, I love that we're getting all these questions that are basically just like soap operas. How could your sister just walk away after giving you juicy tidbits like that? It's like, if you know something, fucking tell me. Don't like allude to things and walk away like, oh, well, you didn't know that? Oh, you don't know how deep the secret goes, and like walk away. No, fuck you. Tell me. Talk to your sister. Be like, hey, you said some crazy shit. Tell me what you know and what you don't, because like obviously that's running the fuck through my head. And like, talk to her. She's your fucking sister, unless she's a shitbag. Well, surely she will tell you.
I want to put in line here that the dad has picked all of their fucking spouses and is now being accused of long conning with the current husband. So like, this family doesn't exactly seem to be the most stable and supportive. So I don't know.
But like, I still feel like if your sister is telling you this to fuck with you, then you still want to know. So if she doesn't have anything to offer you aside from riling you up like this, then that's probably a good indication that she's just being an asshole. Whereas, like, if she actually has something to base it on, then you can move on to step 2, which is, like, talking to the husband or the dad, right? But you can't just, like...
Not if the sister's afraid of the dad repercussions.
Then why don't she... Then you say it's already too late.
Because it's like a horror movie where, the person who's under control of the bad guys, like, gives the hero the subtle hint.
Yes.
Right?
I still talk to your sister anyway, and if she says something along that line, again, you probably know your family and your sister and your dad better than we do, like a little bit better, I'm sure you could gauge whether or not she's like, you guys have a conversation, but like hand her a bunch of letters so she could spell it out on the table while you're having a normal conversation, what's actually happening.
It's rare that we get to cross questions over together. But have you thought about installing light bulb cameras?
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe, oh my God, what if this is the boyfriend? No, they're already married. Damn it.
Yeah, I don't even, because like, here's the thing. You can go and be like, hey, Dad, did you con me into marrying my husband? And he can be like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
And then like, what?
And guess what? A guy who could make a con this long, he's probably pretty decent at lying.
Yeah, he's probably pretty good at pulling some strings.
Yeah, also your husband. But on the flip side, it's a good marriage. And she likes the guy. So is Dad just an incredible matchmaker?
Well, that's the other thing.
Because, like, as far as we know, they didn't force her. Like, she thinks she did this all by her own choice, which means she presumably honestly likes this man. And it's like, it's not like they just met and had a whirlwind marriage. They've been married for 2 years and presumably dated for a while before that. So, like, can his entire personality be a con for that long? I doubt it.
What if we're dealing with like a quantum dad situation? He like sees all possibilities before him. And he knew that like, oh, this guy is bad. I don't like him because on, April 27th of 2027, he gets drunk and crashes you guys into a tree and kills you. However, Michael over here is going to love you forever. And he's going to give us amazing children. And one of them is going to grow up and be the president.
Which used to be a thing that you could say and like actually mean something, but now it's like you could be the president if you're a dumb shitbag. So not as impressive.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, maybe quantum dad. Like we've had girlfriends who could tell the future. Maybe this is the father of one of those girlfriends.
It's true.
Right? He spread his quantum seed.
Oh God.
What
if he transcends time and space altogether? What if he's the
son? He
is
those girlfriends?
He's the son of those girlfriends.
Whoa.
Who has gone back in time to make sure that like the timeline plays out correctly. He's like Quantum Terminator Dad.
Can we take a minute just because I know there's some feisty listeners. We have personally trademarked Quantum Dad. By the time this came out on Monday, we're already developing it into a full CW show. So back off. Quantum Dad is ours.
I really don't know how to approach this. And because like I said, trying to confront your husband and your father about it, either they're gonna be like, yeah, we got you, which seems
that would be a wild move,
which seems counterproductive to their whole gambit, or they're going to continue to lie to you the way that they have been doing for however long you guys have been married and be like, what are you talking about? And then they just gaslight you.
We talked about win-wins earlier. I think this is a lose-lose because it's like if you confront them and they say no, like, is that going to reassure you? No. If you confront them and they say yes, what the fuck do you do that? Like, I guess divorce? Oh shit, I did like you though. Also, how do I ever trust at any situation ever again? My dad he's in too deep. He's manipulating the entire world. Quantum Dad is unstoppable.
Yeah, you literally cannot stop Quantum Dad.
I mean, like that's such a wild show because we have, from his perspective, it's like a heartwarming, like time traveling, like eon spanning, like family love story. But from the daughter's perspective, it's this horror story.
It's just Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. He's like Omni-Man or fucking like, what's the, not Captain America, the bad one from The Boys.
Oh, Homelander.
Yeah, he's just this unstoppable manipulative force. Man, this is intense. I can't wait for season 2.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is literally putting like a nanny cam in a, like, you know what I mean? Have them over and be like, hey guys, can I talk to you? Talk to them, be like, hey, so here's the situation. I think you guys set this up. I need you to be honest with me. Like, did you guys know each other beforehand? Did you guys work together to try to get me to marry him? I need you to tell me. Granted, this is going to make you look
crazy,
pretty fucking wild. But then when you leave the room, you gotta look for those subtle glances. You know what I mean? Do they seem concerned? Do they say anything? Like, literally, and this isn't advice. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying this is the only way I can see it playing out.
Or you just talk to them both. You say like, hey, when was the first time you met my dad? And like, see what he says. Then ask the dad, when was the first time you met him? Now, the only thing is, you have to double yourself. So you ask them both at the same time. Because if they get to talk, if if he's like, oh, I told her that we never met before, but he's like, oh shit, I just told her we met at a baseball game once.
You need to get a third party. You need to like get your friend to do it. You know what I mean? Like you need someone who's not in the family, because let me tell you, I don't trust any of these motherfuckers.
No, I don't.
I don't even trust her, the question asker. This could all be part of Quantum Dad's plan.
It's true.
Right? So I think you need to like go and get a friend that, oh God, I was going to say that your dad has never met, but who fucking knows anymore?
No, damn it. It goes too deep.
The only thing to do is you have to leave this world. You need to go somewhere untouched.
By Quantum Dads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does such a place exist?
Probably not. This is like the eldritch knowledge that puts madness into men.
You know what? You gotta turn the tables. And by that, I mean, don't necessarily do anything to him, but insinuate like you have. When you go out for lunch with him and like he chooses Eggs Benedict, you like nod knowingly and, you know, give that smile like you manipulated everything to the point where he chose the Eggs Benedict. You just start dropping clues that like you introduced his friends to him or that you knew his friends from before. And then maybe start to act like you introduced him to your mom, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But in Quantum Dad's realm, all things are possible. And the thing is, either he will respect you so much that he will stop manipulating your life, or more realistically, like a serial killer who likes to feel, you know, in control and powerful, he'll turn to you and be like, oh yeah, you think you're good? Well, I manipulated your whole marriage. And you go, I got you, Quantum Dad. The only thing that can stop you was you. And then like the feds rush in with their quantum handcuffs and he's thrown in a quantum jail. And then guess what? You get yourself just a regular 4D husband.
It's the only logical thing to do. You ready to do some Tinders?
Yeah, I am. I think I need a Quantum Dad cleanser because it was a scary space to be in.
Yeah, I did like it. I opened the door and I hate that I walked through it.
It's fair.
I want to make sure that door stays shut.
You can never keep out Quantum Dad.
I know. Once the door is in a perpetual state of always being open and closed.
He's been through every door.
At the end of the episode, we like to cool down and take a look at online dating platforms, mainly Tinder, but we get a little bit of everything. And we review it, critique it, we look through profiles and pick out what does and doesn't work in an effort to make your online dating experience a little more manageable, a little more enjoyable.
And to point out some red flags that, unlike a previous question asker, you should ignore, or not ignore, you should pick up on and work accordingly. This is S. Exotic baby. North African. Educated and brings only good vibes with a Z. Not looking for love, shrug emoji. Love don't pay bills, honey.
Okay, so is this an implication that she's a sex worker?
I don't know.
Because, like, I'm fine with it. That's cool.
Yeah, totally fine. But, like, it's, like, I don't know, which means, like, if that's not the implication, they've done a bad profile.
It also seems a little convoluted or manipulative, because, like, it that could be on anyone's profile. Like, you could either be a sex worker or you could not be a sex worker with a phrase like that. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I feel like you kind of have to be very, very upfront about that kind of stuff. I mean, granted, that's something that can be done in the private sphere.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest of the profiles is boring. It's nothing exciting.
Exotic baby is a strange term.
Exotic baby upsets me.
Yeah.
Because I just think of, like, really stereotypical, like, babies. You know what I mean? Like really racistly dressed up babies.
Oh God.
And I don't like it.
It's a 3 for me. It's bland and confusing.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 because I don't care.
Okay.
This is Rob. Wickedly funny, educated professional, peach emoji, in search of his next husband. This one is going to be the last and final. Smirk face.
Oh God.
I'm attracted to confident, secure men that are progressive, fit, and also funny AF.
It's kind of ominous about the last one, and it's kind of a weird move to be like looking for my next husband, or second, or whatever.
Yeah, in search of his next husband, and then sort of the ultimatum of being like, oh, if you're going to get involved, you're not going anywhere.
You're my last. You are your penultimate husband.
You're going nowhere.
Or the ultimate husband.
It makes me nervous as to what happened to previous husband.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You don't get to choose that your next husband, who you haven't met yet, is the husband to beat all husbands. You do not get to choose that. I guess you do in the future, kind of. You get to choose someone you really like, but even then, it's like they still have a choice. I don't know. It seems like it's a lot of pressure. It's a lot to come out hot and heavy with, and calling yourself wickedly funny or whatever. It seems like that's the kind of thing other people need to figure out, not be told. Show don't tell, because nothing in that's funny.
You have only scared me, sir. I'm giving that a 2.
Yeah, 2 for me. This is Shell. They are employed at Money. I want a friendship bond to be free and transparent, to feel safe, like internally relaxed and secure. I want my equal in character, quality, goals, and passion. I will do for him all the things I only dream of having, above things I wish for love, and to be ridiculously spoiled and treated like Roya.
Does it get cut off?
I assume it's royalty, because I don't know who Roya is, but maybe it's just someone who's been treated very well.
I don't know if it was just my listening comprehension, but a lot of that just sound like word spaghetti.
Yeah, I feel like it treads the line between bad profile and bot, because it could very well be a bot. That's very generic, wordy bullshit, but it does kind of still have like a thread through it that makes human sense.
The idea of being like, I want to reciprocate, love and hold each other up based on our ambitions and our goals and yada yada, but also treat me like a princess.
Yeah.
Is a confusing move, because based on the structure of how a monarchy works, if you're the princess, you are not equal to the person treating you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't sound like you want an equal partnership. It sounds, or you don't understand what an equal partnership is. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I'm giving it a 3.
Yeah, I'm giving it a 2, because again, I honestly, you could be a bot, and if I'm not sure, that's not great. It's vague and boring where it's not alarming.
This is Brianna, here to match with the 5 regulars I always do when I re-download this app. I've gotten 2 doses of the COVID vaccine, so I guess you could say I don't care what goes inside me.
Ooh. I like the end because 1, hell yeah for vaccinations. 2, it's funny. And 3, it's sexy. Although, like, I don't care what goes inside me is kind of the opposite to getting a vaccine, because it's like that is itself a very healthy thing.
It concerns me because I don't know if she means that she has both doses or she has 2 separate doses.
I assume it's both doses. But I will say one of my pet peeves is the weird, like, oh, I guess I'm on Tinder again. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it's still 5 regulars I always match with because I re-downloaded. Like, I don't know what it is, but the whole, like, acting like you're reluctantly on Tinder or being reluctantly on Tinder, I hate it. It's like, we're all adults here. This isn't 10 years ago when online dating was, like, a little bit less respected, where people were like, oh, really? That's that new weird thing. Everyone does it all the time. It's not a shameful thing. So the fact that you're still hung up on it makes me feel like you're going to be shit in bed. You know what I mean? Like, if you're so, like, insecure about talking about the fact that you're online dating while you're online dating to other people online dating who only see you online dating unless you get reviewed on the podcast that's listened to by millions, then I can't imagine you're going to be very secure about other things. So
I agree. You do a good recovery because I think the ending is funny.
The ending's funny.
But yeah, the need to sort of disclaim. Also, why aren't you giving these 5 guys a chance?
Wow.
Why not, right?
Women just have to give 5 guys a chance, huh?
Well, I'm just saying, if you're matching with them, she's saying yes to them.
I guess.
So unless you've already dated them...
Maybe she gave them a chance. Maybe they were the 5 reasons she deleted it before.
Hey, sure, if that's the case. But if not...
Maybe all 5 of them were chosen for her by Quantum Dad. It's a 6 from me.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 6 as well.
This is Alana. No hookups. Love dogs and animals. If you want me, prove it. No narcissists. Done with guys that like to play games and don't know what they want. Independent blonde men only. 8 tattoos and counting.
No, I don't even need to review this. This is a 1 for me.
Not a... The thing I hate the most is that there's not a single capital letter at the start of any sentence, but in the middle, there's one. That gets me. Yeah, it's like a 3 from me. Do you have one more?
Yeah, I got one more. This is Ben. I've been modeling around 3 years out of a small agency in the city. Love dogs and all animals, but not as much as the gym. Not looking for anything too serious right now. Just got out of a relationship. Hashtag MILFs rule.
Sorry. Hashtag MILFs rule?
Yep.
Oh, That's a powerful move, Ben. I feel like I know exactly what Ben looks like. When you say you like dogs, but then you like the gym more, which I'm gonna say I hate.
That
Like,
is the most like American Psycho thing you could ever say. I like dogs, but not as much as working out.
yeah, like dogs are the best. Working out is not. I'm sorry,
What?
Ben.
Here's the thing. I've recently really started to enjoy working out. I enjoy lifting weights now. It's a new thing. I love it. But if someone was like, "Hey, you can go play with this border collie, or you could do a couple more, bench presses," I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take the border collie.
Yeah, 100%.
I will
I
never
feel
work out again if I get to play with this border collie."
I feel like he listened to like a talk on how to craft your profile, and they were like, "Oh, you gotta demonstrate worth. Like, say that you're a model. You gotta mention animals, dogs, take a picture of one if you can. Show that you get a good body in the gym." And he was like, "How do I put these all together?" And he chose the worst route.
Yeah.
Like, love dogs, all animals. I'm like, "Oh yeah, cool. Not as much as the gym." I'm like, Now I'm doubting you do love dogs and all animals very much. Also, MILF's rule is just the best thing I've seen because one, hashtags don't work on Tinder, so good job. But secondly, it's just great. It's just great. MILF's rule. I love it.
He's 20, so he's looking for an older lady. Which, hey man, I was there too. I played in that space for a while. Anyway, this is gonna be I want to give it an 8 because it's fucking hilarious,
Mm-hmm.
but in reality, I'm gonna give it a 3.
I want to give it a 10 just for how funny it is because it's a whole mood. This whole thing is just its own little thing, and I love it. But I also hate it. You're gonna get a 5, maybe a 4, because dogs rule, man. I'm sorry. Get them puppos into you. And last but not least, this is Baby. Now, Baby seems to have, when serial killers like scrape the eyes off photos in their own home.
Yes.
Baby seems to have done the opposite on their profile picture and added like 19 eyes on top of their own. So like their eyes are dark and intense and big, and the rest of the picture is like washed out and faded, and it's awful. Super proud to be Chinese, enjoying single life, no pen pal, high standards, must have video call to verify, no scammers, then get coffee, see if we can be FERDs, which I assume is just friends. Seeking candidates for position of my boyfriend. It's a relatively short contract with the intent of promoting you to full-time hubby upon careful evaluation.
Oof.
If you kind and loving and loyal, plus 20. Responsible and genuine, plus 20. Go to gym often, plus 20. Emotionally healthy and clean, plus 20. Can handle conflicts, plus 20. Not a dog person, minus 100.
Okay. So technically, if you were all those things and hated dogs, you'd just be
0.
just balance out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now, what I would love to know is does our good friend Ben count as not a dog person? Because he does go to the gym out often. We know that.
The thing that got me is I'm looking for a short-term boyfriend to turn into a husband. That sounds like you're gonna rush things real fast.
Yeah, relatively short contract is not what should happen between boyfriend and hubby.
Or just any relationship.
Even moving in, if you were it's a short contract before you move in, I'd be like, God, no. That should also not be short. It shouldn't even be a short contract before becoming official. But is it just playful? Is she serious?
I don't know. It seems very strange to joke about that thing because anyone joking about it would understand how terrifying it is, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
No, that's right. Yeah, it's not a great one. Also, do you need to say you have high standards?
Yeah, hopefully that is the given. That should be the expectation, not the exception.
And no, I must have video call to verify. No scammers. As a girl, I'm pretty sure the opposite happens a lot more often, right? Who's scamming you?
I mean, I guess she means catfishers, less so people trying to take your money. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Who knows?
It's going to be a 4 for me.
I'm going to give it a 4 as well.
Well, guys, thanks for coming.
Thanks for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you, and we are thrilled every time you decide to spend an hour hanging out with us. It means the world to us. As of tomorrow, I'm back at work. We're not open, but I'm there for some reason. So it's time to start commuting again. And I know a lot of places already are commuting. So now's a great time to suggest our show to some of your friends, and we would really appreciate it. It's the nicest thing you can do for us.
Yeah, mean the world to us.
If you have a question, you can hit us up on our website at fbuddiespodcast.com. You can find all of our social media there, including the Instagram that Niall is working very hard on, or a contact page in which you can send in a question, and we will answer it as fast as we can.
And just like thank Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars. You ready for some bad sex writing?
I am.
Now, this is some erotic fiction that had been submitted to Reddit, which is meant to be true. So it's like a user submitted, like, this happened to me story. Betty's pussy was incredible, and I think about it often. She was naturally a squirter, and it took almost nothing to get her to gush. Her clit was small and adorned beautifully by a small hood, which could easily be held open to grant me free access. Her lips were not quite hangers, but had a little more to them than most women, which made it incredibly, wildly, over the top satisfying to lick them or pull them and give me access to her vagina.
I hated every you've brought some real fucking dude, but that, like, the fact that her name is Betty, it just made me immediately think of an old woman. And look, there's nothing wrong about old people getting down. That's great. Fuck until you're dead. You know what I mean? That's great. The mental imagery of this passage upsets me so much.
I feel like it was weird because it wasn't quite like clinical,
Yes.
but it wasn't like erotic or natural. It was like this weird, just like threading the needle between the two, where it sounded like a robot was writing it almost. Like it was just written so unnaturally that like there was nothing sexual about it.
That's the thing. It was so like procedural.
Yeah.
And just sort of like it was someone who like was 3D printing the mental image of a vagina in their head, being like, yep, this part and this part and this part, giving no care to romance it whatsoever. Also, why are you pulling on labia? What are you doing? They're not udders. Leave them alone.
They had a cute little HUD that adorned and gave them free act. Yeah, the whole thing was awful.
Yeah, I didn't like it. My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm now Spain.
We've been your fuck buddies.